Ladies and gentlemen, after another night of UEFA Champions League action, I'm here to give you guys a breakdown on some of the events I occur in this week's UEFA Champions League playoff first round of games. And so, as we know, after say about the UEFA Champions League phase, some teams qualified automatically into the round of 16, and others couldn't. And to normal moment to man qualify, they have to go through the playoff round. And we have some of the biggest teams across European football who are also playing in the playoff round. And so they started their games on Tuesday and then on Wednesday. So I'm here to break down everything for you to get the best out of some of the things that happen here over this particular week during the playoff round in the UEFA Champions League. Specifically, first legs are a course. And so the second round of games will take place next week, Tuesday, and then on Wednesday. So it will be on 24th and then on 25th of February 2026. And a second round of games, every to me at This is the Punch. My name is General. If today happens to be your first time watching me on this channel, please hit on the subscribe button, leave your comments under the comment section. But most importantly, yes, this part is very, very important. You click on the notification bell so that you put us on post notification. Anytime that we drop a video, you'll be notified. So let's get straight into the issues. But don't forget that I also talk about the Arsenal team because on Wednesday night, they drew against Wolverhampton Wanderers, who is fighting in the relegation zone. Arsenal couldn't win against Wolverhampton Wanderers. And so for the second time in a row, Arsenal have dropped points in their chase or in their quest to win this season's Premier League. So let's start off with the matches that took place on Tuesday night in the UEFA Champions League. And so it started with the first game between Galatasaray in Istanbul facing Juventus, the old ladies of the Serie A. And the game, of course, the game was beautiful to watch because Galatasaray is one of the teams in Europe. They play like fluid football. If you face this kind of team, right, they can play with you toe to toe. They know how to keep the ball. They have players who can possess the ball, control the game. Their midfielders are very flexible that they can control the game. So it was a game. It was beautiful to watch. I think the first half produced about 3 goals in the first half. Yes, because Juventus took the lead. Galatasaray equalized. Juventus added the second goal, and Galatasaray came back. They equalized again. So after the end of that particular game, Galatasaray won the game by 5 goals to 2 at their own backyard. So they have whipped the Juventus team left, right, center, everywhere. So for the first leg, Galatasaray have taken the lead, 5 goals to 2. If Juventus want to eliminate Galatasaray and move into the round of 16, they need to score them like 7 unanswered goals in the second leg, which I think it is impossible. So as things stands now, I think that Galatasaray will go straight into the round of 16 ahead of Juventus. The second leg, which will be played next week, where yes, they are going to edge Juventus out of the playoff round. Even in that game, Juventus had a red card, and so they couldn't contain the aggressiveness and then the pressing of the Galatasaray team. They couldn't, and so that is how things are going. On that particular Tuesday night, AS Monaco also lost their game at home against their rivals in France, that is Paris Saint-Germain. It was a game that Monaco took a 2-goal lead in the first half. They took a 2-goal lead in the first half, but they couldn't keep up with the pace. They couldn't keep up with the pace. Paris Saint-Germain came back into the game stronger. They equalized and they finally won the game by 3 goals to 2, which for me, I think this Monaco team is the most inconsistent team I've ever seen. You take a 2-goal lead and then you sit down, you relax for Paris Saint-Germain to come back and then win the game by 3 goals to 2. We all know that this Paris Saint-Germain team of late, for the past like 2 months now, their team haven't been the best because they have been shaking at their backyard. They've been losing a couple of games that they are not supposed to lose. So their team is not as they won the Champions League last season. And so taking a 2-goal lead against this Paris Saint-Germain team, it was an opportunity for Monaco to seal everything and move forward. But they lost the game eventually by 3 goals to 2. And then the game that everyone was waiting to watch was the game, of course, so it was Portugal between Benfica and then Real Madrid, the Los Blancos. Jose Mourinho, the coach of Benfica, he was waiting to face his former club, Real Madrid. We all know what he did to this particular Real Madrid team during the league phase. 4-2, 4-2. Even where their goalkeeper scored their winning goal at Ebo Mountain before the playoff. And so the game started in Benfica, and for the first half, the game was boring because Madrid had like 4 good chances that they were supposed to score, but they couldn't score all those 4 goals. And so in the first half, the game ended on a 0-0 scoreline. Kylian Mbappe was nowhere to be found in that particular game. He was out of the game. The Benfica defenders, Otamendi and the likes, they were pressing him to the extent that he couldn't even like play the ball very well. So Mbappe was out of the game. It was Vinicius who was at least trying his best. He was doing some 1 or 2 skirmishes in the game, where eventually he got that particular goal in the second half. And after that goal came, it brought about all the hula value and the controversies that it is having on the internet. We saw videos and pictures where this player of Benfica, he come from Argentina. Yes, Gianluca Prestiani. Or an attire and he said certain words to Vinicius Jr. because we were not on the pitch. Vinicius Jr. was closer to the player. So Vinicius Jr. heard what the player said. And according to Vinicius, the player was abusing him racially abusing Vinicius Jr. He was calling him certain names that I cannot say on this particular channel. He was calling him monkey and all of that. And so Vinicius Jr. reported it to the referee that this is what the player is saying to me. And that brought about the whole controversies around that particular game. They wasted like 10 minutes trying to solve the issue because Vinicius Jr. didn't want to play the game again. Because after he scored that goal, he went to have his dance. And I don't know if the dance provoked Gianluca or the Benfica fans were provoked by the dance that Vinicius Jr. did. We know Vinny Jr. This is not the first time that he's dancing after scoring a beautiful goal. He has been dancing in different kind of games. There are videos of him dancing in different kind of games after scoring goals. We all know that it is not allowed for players to do certain kind of dances whenever they score because it provokes the fans and they will start, abusing you, throwing things on the pitch, which similar thing happened in this particular game. The Benfica fans started throwing items to the Real Madrid players on the pitch. So after he danced, the player, according to information and what Vinicius Jr. has said on the internet and from the Real Madrid players, the player was abusing him racially. And so the game was halted for like 10 minutes before they were able to resolve the issue. And the game continued, which Real Madrid eventually won the game by 1-0. 1 goal, because it was a game we were all expecting this particular game to produce a whole lot of goals, just as it did in their first game during the league phase. But like we couldn't get those amount of goals that we were expecting in this particular game. So in the first leg, Madrid has won by 1-0. They'll be going back to the Bernabeu to play against Benfica next week, Wednesday. And so don't forget that in that particular game, Jose Mourinho, the coach of Benfica, got a red card. And so he will not be able to travel to Spain to the Santiago Bernabeu for the second leg, which I think it was a needless red card that Jose Mourinho took because your team is down by 1-0. You are going back to the den, Bernabeu. You need to be there with your boys. But here's the case that he has a red card. He will not be able to travel with his team to go to the Santiago Bernabeu for the second leg of that particular game. And for me, I think that abusing players on a pitch, abusing footballers is not something that a footballer should do to his fellow footballer. It shouldn't be done anywhere because abusing a human being racially, calling him or her monkey and other names is not something that we should all encourage in football. And so I've seen a couple of players releasing statements in support, showing their solidarity for Vinicius Jr. and all of that. And so these are things that happened in that particular Real Madrid game. The Benfica players were pressing the Real Madrid team. They pressed them. Otamendi and the likes, they were at the back pressing the Real Madrid team. So they couldn't get a chance, though they had some good chances, but they couldn't score. In that particular game, Chouameni was adjudged the man of the match in that game. And then Brahim Diaz made his 100th appearance in the Champions League for Real Madrid. Daniel Carvajal also made his 300th appearance for Real Madrid also as well. And Dortmund also won their game against Atalanta Bergamasco Casio at the Signal Iduna Park in Germany. And so that is how things are going. And then on Wednesday night, we had some amazing games. Newcastle scoring 6-1 against Qarabag FK. It was expected. And the most shocking game was the game between Bodoe and then Inter Milan, where Bodoe scored Inter Milan by 3-1. Yes, Inter. This same Inter team that eliminated Barcelona last season, this same Inter team who is on top of the Serie A, they couldn't win their game against Bodo. They lost the game by 3-1. Bodo at their home in Denmark. 3-1. Atletico Madrid against Club Brugge. Also, Atletico Madrid took a 2-goal lead. Club Brugge equalized all the 2 goals. They came back, they scored another goal, which was 3-2 in favor of Atletico Madrid. Then Qarabag also equalized the game. So that game also ended on a 3-3 draw, whereas Leverkusen also scored Olympiacos by 2-0. And talking about this Bodo team, right? This season, they've been able to win against some of the biggest clubs in Europe. If you all remember, they scored Manchester City by 3-1. They scored Atletico Madrid by 2-1 in the league phase, and they have scored Inter Milan by 3-1. So this is a season of dreams for the Bodo team in Denmark. And so Vinicius Junior also has surpassed Kaká, and he has become the second highest Brazilian scorer in the UEFA Champions League after Neymar, who has 43 goals in the Champions League. Vinicius Junior comes to the second place with 31 goals after he scored that beautiful goal against Benfica during the week. And now let's talk about the players of the week who have been nominated, or the players who have been nominated for the Player of the Week award. We have Anthony Gordon of Newcastle, who had an amazing game in the 6-1 victory over Qarabag FK. Let's talk about Desiree Doué, who also scored 2 goals against Monaco in their game in the midweek. And then Patrick Schick of Leverkusen. He also scored 2 goals within the space of 3 minutes for Leverkusen in their victory over Olympiacos. Whereas Hogg of Bodo, who also had an amazing game against Inter Milan. So these are the 4 players who have been nominated for the Player of the Week award in the Champions League. Let's see who gets the award. Now let's talk about Ademola Lookman. He is having a fantastic season in his new club, Atletico Madrid, because since he arrived, he has played in 5 matches, he has scored 3 goals and produced 2 assists. So he has been a fantastic player since he joined Atletico Madrid from Atalanta. He has been a fantastic player for Diego Simeone's side. In his career, I think he has played 380 games so far. He scored 102 goals and he has produced 52 assists. He is an African Player of the Year winner as well. And so that is Ademola Lookman for you. Now, let's come back and talk about this Arsenal and Mikel Arteta team in the English Premier League this season.
I genuinely thought this was it. I thought we were going to win the league again. How fucking wrong was I? I forgot we had the biggest bottle jobs this league has ever seen.
Good recruitment, bought quality players, but they haven't been able to live up to expectations over the years. For the past 5 years or so, they haven't been able to win the Champions League, Europa League, no major trophy for them. The EPL, they haven't been able to win it. Over the years, they have been able to place second in the Premier League. This isn't that we all thought, oh, Arsenal is going to win the league. They just looking at how things are going. I think they are going to bottle the league again, once again, because it's 7 points lead between yourself and the Manchester City. Now the gap is 5 points, though Manchester City has a game to play. So this weekend, Manchester City will be playing against Tottenham Hotspur. If they are able to beat Tottenham Hotspur, the points will be closed. The gap will be closed to 2 points. 2 points. And I am convinced that Manchester City is going to beat Tottenham Hotspur on Sunday. Yes, they are going to beat them. Arsenal drew against Wolverhampton Wanderers. On Wednesday night, Arsenal took a 2-goal lead. They took a 2-goal lead. Saka was on a score sheet. Pierre Hincapié was on a score sheet. And then Wolverhampton equalized, and then the game ended on a draw. Mikel Arteta, like this Arsenal team, if they are able to win the league, what the Arsenal fans are going to do to these guys, because this is a Manchester City team. They are not the same Manchester City team that we knew 5 years ago, who won the league on 4 consecutive occasions. They had the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, David Silva, all those guys were there. This is a new Manchester City team, and Pep Guardiola, they are now trying to set up the team because they bought new crop of players that they need to fix them into the team very well so that they can be able to adjust themselves. But this Arsenal team who have played like for so many years, they cannot adjust, to keep up with the pace. Now the points, if you look at the table, Arsenal has 58 points. Manchester City has 53. They have a game at hand to play against an inconsistent Tottenham Hotspur who have just sacked their coach. Aston Villa has 50 points. Manchester United has 45 points. Chelsea has 44. Liverpool has 42. So this is not the best Manchester City team we've seen over the years. Let's say for the past 6 years. This has not been the best Manchester City team. But this has been one of the best Arsenal teams that we've seen. But they are not able to win the league. And this season as well, they are on their way to bottle the league once again. Mikel Arteta. Mikel Arteta. So guys, I'll leave you here. This weekend, there are matches coming up in Europe as well. Manchester City, the big game is between Manchester City and then Tottenham Hotspur as well. Barcelona will be playing against Levante, and then Real Madrid will also be playing against Osasuna. Barca also they also drew against, they lost against Girona by 2-1. So for now, Madrid is leading the La Liga. If Madrid want to win the La Liga, they need to win all their games, their remaining games. They have to win all of them to win the Spanish La Liga. This is the point. My name is General. If you are new here, please subscribe to our channel for us. Leave us a comment, put us on post notification, and also share this video with your friends as well. I'll see you in our next video. I'm out.